Hi guys, it's Nathan.
And Craig.
And today we have Namco Bandai's latest title, Armored Core Verdict Day, in for review.
Verdict Day is a mecha action shooter which is coming to both Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3.
There are three factions at war with each other, and the last remaining resources are needed for the survival of each faction, and they are fought for on No Man's Land.
No Man's Land is a barren and dull landscape where there is no hope of survival. On Verdict Day you will choose which faction you want to fight for, and from here you will then work and adapt your weapons and strategy to turn the war in your favour.
So what's Armored Core Verdict Day actually like?
It reminds me of a futuristic Monster Hunter, to be honest.
The gameplay in Verdict Day is very in-depth and enjoyable to play through. You play as a mecha, essentially a robot killing machine, and fight the good fight against the factions. There are two different gameplay modes which you'll have, which are Scan Mode and Combat Mode.
The Scan Mode does exactly what it says on the tin, scans your environment. This will pick up on anything important that can be seen, especially enemies, which is really useful. The Scan Mode becomes useful later on in the game, but for the first few missions, you can do without it.
Combat Mode is where you'll see the majority of the time. Here you have the options to evade attacks, shoot your left-hand weapon or right-hand weapon, and explore the environment. The HUD contains all the information necessary during combat, such as your health, amount of left-hand weapon ammo, and the amount of right-hand weapon ammo, and also your boost percentage, which links to the amount of energy you have to evade attacks and boost around the environment.
Also, you have two weapons on each left and right hand. You have the you can set it up so you can have a sword and gun on one arm, and then you can set it up so you have like a rocket launcher and another gun on the other. But then if you mess around with the controls, you are able to switch between the two weapons on each arm. So essentially you can have one mecha that has four weapons, which is really cool. The controls in the game were a bit awkward at first to get used to, though after a few missions you will get used to the gameplay and it'll feel really comfortable. Health was a major problem at the beginning of the game, as enemies tend to overpower you, meaning that you'd have to restart the mission. Overall though, the gameplay is solid. Even if it takes a while to get used to it, when you do, it is a really good game. Though the game has another feature which is brilliant.
Yep, it does indeed. Armored Core Verdict Day doesn't just leave you with the default robot you start with. You're able to go into every body part and drastically customize your robot for strength and for looks.
Customization is very in-depth within Verdict Day, with every single part of your robot being able to be customized. Though the customized mode isn't only for making your robot look badass, but be actual badass. Your robot will be able to be changed, like what weapon it'll have, and what colours, everything down to the finest of detail. The only downside to this mode is that you have to unlock everything, but then again that's what you pretty much have to do in most games.
Armored Core Verdict Day is able to be played with up to 10 players, and you're going to want to make sure you play in a team. The game seems to be set around teamwork, and missions become very difficult when you're without a team.
Graphically, Verdict Day looks slightly outdated compared to some of the newer titles that are on the market at the minute, though that doesn't mean it is bad. The mech customization mode has a great backdrop when you're obviously designing your mech, so you can just see what it looks like in a scene, and also the detail that the mech itself actually goes into is quite astonishing. Whilst the game environment does look great to play in, it still isn't as high quality as you would think.
So let's go through some of the positives and negatives on the game.
Positive to begin with, the game has brilliant and in-depth customization which you could be hooked on for ages.
Multiplayer is great and is fun to go on missions with your mates instead of being on single player.
It also has hours upon hours of gameplay, so what about the negatives?
Sadly, the game feels kind of repetitive.
The game's graphics look slightly outdated compared to other releases at the minute.
Some missions are very difficult on single player mode and become slightly frustrating.
Overall though, Armored Core Verdict Day is a great game with upon hours of fun. It can be compared to games like I said, such as Monster Hunter, where you get set missions, you go and do them, and once you've done the task at hand, you complete them, allowing you to look like an epic killing machine, kind of like the freaking Transformers, to be honest.
Whilst the game does have some flaws which we pointed out earlier, its positives outweigh them, and you'll truly have a great experience while playing. The game is very in-depth customization and gameplay-wise, and making the perfect bot and finding your perfect team will make your chances of improving the game and successful clearing missions. Overall, this game deserves a well-deserved 9 out of 10, with its main letdown being its graphical issues and slight repetitiveness.
Thanks for watching, guys. Remember to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video, which will be our Eurogamer Expo videos.
It will indeed. This has been Nathan.
And Craig, signing off.